crown off the first Katiba Day celebrations. Welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Your Excellencies, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. When I reflected on our journey to a new constitution, and as has been ably put by those who have spoken before me, especially the former Prime Minister, we were members of the Parliamentary Select Committee that midwifed the constitution-making process. At some point, he was chair. At some point, I was chair. But we all participated in this journey. And as I reflected on our journey towards a new constitution, I was reminded in my conscience that when we got a new constitution, we seemed to have said we are done with matters constitution. And that is why I decided that maybe it is time. It may be 15 years down the road, but it's never too late to do the right thing. And that is why I signed a proclamation for us to celebrate this day, the day that we promulgated a new constitution, as Katiba Day. And I want to thank all of you for honoring my invitation so that we can do this together. As I reflected on how this should be done, I also was informed by the journey. What we discussed during the constitution-making process is that we had too many holidays. That was actually one of the problems we had, and that is why there was an attempt by the new constitution to consolidate national holidays, that there were too many. And so it was the reason why I also thought, in the spirit of this constitution, we should not make this a national holiday where there is no work. And partly why I thought maybe we should have this occasion in the afternoon so that people can work in the morning. It was my thinking. But maybe we can refine that as we go forward. But the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was born out of people's deepest desire for justice, inclusivity, and dignity. We longed for a country where power belongs to the people, where no Kenyan is left behind, and where rights and freedoms are guaranteed for all. Today, on the 15th anniversary of the enactment of the Constitution, we celebrate Katiba Day to honor the covenant and to renew our fidelity to its vision. This Constitution is acclaimed across the world as one of the most progressive and transformative. It is our solemn duty to preserve it, protect it, and to ensure its full implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, our Constitution was born out of hard and painful lessons. The tragic events, for example, of 2007-2008 remind us how far our nation could descend when institutions fail, when resources are hoarded by a few, and when divisions are cynically exploited. From that moment of crisis, we made a solemn resolve: never again. Never again would Kenya be brought to the brink of collapse by impunity and injustice. For we knew that we, as a people, deserved better, and our country demanded better. Katiba 2010 became our national testimony, our solemn vow to build a free, democratic, inclusive, and united Kenya. Over the past 15 years, we have walked that journey. We have injected life into this great chapter. Fellow Kenyans, as stipulated in Article 174, devolution has come alive. It has fostered equity by distributing resources fairly and addressing historical imbalances. Many have been mentioned. Matters to do with health. Many counties, for the first time, had doctors in facilities. We've been told about the first cesarean session done in Mandera County for the first time under devolution, and many, many testimonies could follow. Since the birth of devolution 12 years ago, the national government has transferred a total of 4 trillion to counties. Today, every corner of Kenya has a functional county government, closer to the people than ever before. From our first day in office, I affirmed that devolution would not merely be a constitutional provision, but the crown jewel of our democratic governance. I pledged to accelerate the full transfer of all outstanding devolved functions as assigned in the 4th schedule of our Constitution, together with the requisite resources. This commitment was formalized during the 11th National and County Government Coordination Summit in Nairobi on the 16th of December 2024. Today, all 14 devolved functions have been conclusively delineated, unbundled, and formally gazetted, eliminating long-standing ambiguities that hampered service delivery and fueled intergovernmental disputes. To further underscore this commitment, 2 weeks ago, I signed into law 2 landmark pieces of legislation: the County Public Finance Law Amendment Act of 2023 and the County Allocation of Revenue Act 2025. In line with Article 217 of the Constitution, these laws reinforce the principle of equitable revenue sharing among counties, guarantees fairness in the distribution of national resources, and empowers county assemblies to play their rightful role and clearly define the respective mandates of both national and county governments. Under my leadership, the national government is committed to support devolution by ensuring timely disbursement of funds and steadily increasing allocation to counties. Under the Division of Revenue Act 2025, we have allocated an unprecedented 415 billion to counties. As chairman of the Council of Governors, FCPA Ahmed Abdullahi has affirmed nearly 30 billion shillings more than last year's 387 billion. I know that my good friend Abdullahi has urged that we should enhance allocation to counties, and I have committed that we will continuously do that. But I also want to ask for the assistance of my county government leaders, the governors. the job of mobilizing resources is a very difficult job. As I mobilize resources nationally, I also want you to work with me and to assist me to mobilize resources at the county. Don't leave the business of mobilizing resources to me, because in the process of trying to mobilize resources so that I can transfer more to the counties, I have acquired names, including Sakayo, and you know it. And I know no county governor wants to raise resources locally, although the law now exists for own source revenue. I would want to ask of you, governors, please, even as you urge me to transfer more resources because I have to mobilize, also look at the opportunity to mobilize resources locally. Even if you are called Sakayo at the county, it will not make any difference. It is still okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bill of Rights, enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Constitution, is the heart of our democratic order. It guarantees every Kenyan fundamental freedoms and socio-economic rights, including the right to education, health, housing, food, water, and dignity, as set out in Article 43. Over the past 15 years, we have worked diligently to breathe life into these rights. And I say this in the full understanding that for citizens of our nation to be able to enjoy our democratic credentials, to be able to enjoy the rule of law and constitutionalism, there are rights guaranteed under Article 43, social and economic rights, that are fundamental to citizens enjoying other rights. A Sikh, ignorant, uneducated, homeless, hungry citizen is very difficult to enjoy democracy, human rights, rule of law, because their status is undermined, and therefore it becomes fundamentally important for us to make sure these social and economic rights do not continue to be a privilege for those who can afford. They should be a right for every citizen, because that is what the Constitution says. And therefore, I want to ask all of us as leaders in the executive, in the legislature, in the judiciary, that as we exercise the authority that we've been given by the Constitution, let us keep the people, the rights of the people at the center, so that we do not undermine their right to housing. We do not undermine their right to health. We do not undermine their right to education. And that all our acts work in concert to facilitate the attainment of those rights by the people of Kenya. We have worked diligently to breathe, as I said, life into these rights. Free primary and day education has opened doors to opportunities for millions of children from every corner of our nation. We have successfully transitioned to the competence-based education and training system, making our education more relevant, practical, and aligned with the demands of the 21st century. Our student-centered funding model is expanding access for learners while securing the sustainability of our universities. By January next year, we will have recruited a record 100,000 new teachers in just 3 years, a significant achievement that has strengthened our education system and improved learning outcomes across the country. This is in addition to the construction of 23,000 classrooms that have been done in collaboration with our members of parliament using the NGCDF. Fellow Kenyans, our affordable housing program is delivering safe and decent homes to families across the country, affirming that shelter is not a privilege for a few, but a constitutional entitlement for every Kenyan. Today, over 160,000 housing units are under construction, each one providing not only a roof over a family's head, but also creating thousands of jobs for our young people, artisans, and professionals. As I committed, we will be handing over the next 5,000 units right here in Nairobi, as we do it in other counties this month. On universal health coverage, we are ensuring that illness no longer drives families into poverty, and that access to quality health care is upheld as a right of every citizen. Despite the inevitable challenges of transition, which are being systematically addressed, the progress is demonstrable and undeniable. As of today, 25.7 million Kenyans have registered with the Social Health Authority, a clear indication of confidence in this reform. Through SHA, we are delivering healthcare to millions of Kenyans in direct, practical, and impactful ways. I must commend the county governments for working in partnership for us to deliver on this commitment to the people of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, our independent constitution established under Chapter 15 of the Constitution are the pillars that safeguard the sovereignty of the people. The judiciary, parliament, and constitutional commissions operate independently to ensure justice is served, resources are protected, and leadership remains accountable. Yet while independent, they are also interdependent, bound together by the shared duty to uphold the Constitution and serve the public good. Parliament relies on reports from oversight agencies. The judiciary requires laws passed by Parliament, and the executive depends on checks and guidance of all institutions to deliver effectively. This balance of independence and interdependence is the genius of our constitutional design. No arm of government, no office, and no commission can claim supremacy because they are all answerable to the people. In this way, our institutions work not in competition, but in complementarity to protect democracy, entrench accountability, and advance the aspirations of every Kenyan. Fellow patriots, our national values set out in Article 10 of the Constitution are not only a key pillar of our constitutional order, but also the very foundation of our stability as a nation. They remind us that Kenya must always be anchored in patriotism, national unity, democracy, participation of the people, human dignity, equity, social justice, equality, non-discrimination, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Today, on this Katiba Day, as we renew our commitment to the ideals of the Constitution, we must ask ourselves honest, candid questions. Are we truly patriotic? Are we living with integrity, both in public and private? Are we inclusive, leaving no one behind? Are we accountable to one another and to our institutions and to future generations? Corruption is a serious threat to our progress as a nation. It undermines our constitution, weakens our institutions, and erodes the well-being of every Kenyan. It is a fact that corruption exists in all arms of government and poses a serious challenge. The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and each must confront this menace with honesty and resolve. I have always reiterated my resolve to serve as a responsible steward of public resources. We have digitized and automated government services to seal loopholes and eliminate the opportunities for corruption. Today, Kenyans can access over 22,000 services on eCitizen, up from 325. The results are evident. Revenue collection has risen dramatically to over 1 billion shillings every day, translating to more than 500 billion annually. Yet I admit there is still much more to be done to combat corruption within the executive. Corruption must be chased down every alley, every corridor, and every corner of the executive by every well-meaning official and citizen whenever it is spotted. I, William Ruto, President of Kenya, fully support the rigorous and expeditious prosecution of any corruption case backed by evidence. This is the only way to restore trust, uphold the Constitution, and assure Kenyans that no office, no title, and no individual is above the law. Parliament, too, must rise to its duty by passing laws that entrench transparency and close avenues for abuse. I commend Parliament for passing the Conflict of Interest Bill, now law, which I have signed. This law strengthens ethical standards and closes loopholes that allowed abuse of office. But as Parliament performs oversight and demands accountability from others, it must also remain accountable to the people of Kenya. This calls for a candid and honest conversation within Parliament. Shall members be counted among those who demand and enforce accountability, or among those who undermine the Constitution by entrenching corruption and impunity? That's a question, Mr. Speaker, Parliament must ask itself. Ladies and gentlemen, the judiciary, entrusted under Article 159, must equally guarantee swift, impartial, and credible justice. Justice delayed, it is said, including in corruption cases, is not justice only deferred, but justice actually denied. The judiciary must confront corruption within its own ranks. I am aware of the vigorous and often unsettling conversation around terms like jury pesa. As painful as this may be, they cannot be ignored. If the institution mandated to dispense justice is perceived as corrupt, It not only erodes confidence, but undermines the very constitution it is sworn to protect. The judiciary must rise to its highest calling to cleanse itself, uphold its independence with integrity, and prove itself the true temple of justice for all Kenyans. My administration, at the request of the judiciary, has provided resources for the hiring of additional judicial officers, especially judges. So far, in 3 years, we have appointed and I have sworn in 47 judges. Another 50 are being recruited as we talk. That will make it 97 judges in 3 years. No other administration has provided such kind of human capital to support our judiciary. It's paid for by the people of Kenya, and it's right for us, as the people of Kenya, to demand expeditious justice to those who come before our courts. In summary, fellow citizens, our national values must not remain words on paper. They must be lived, practiced, and defended every day by every institution, by every leader, and by every citizen. As President, I solemnly reaffirm my oath to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. I call upon all arms of government, the executive, parliament, and the judiciary, as well as our independent institutions and every citizen of our republic, to faithfully discharge their responsibilities in fidelity to the Constitution, knowing very well that all of us are citizens of this country. Every right we enjoy comes with obligations. And those of us who have the privilege to exercise authority, we must know that authority comes with responsibility, and responsibility is accompanied by accountability. And therefore, we must act in the context of what the Constitution allows us to do. For it is not only through our shared commitment that we can secure justice, uphold democracy, guarantee the prosperity of our nation, and truly breathe life into our Constitution, but by doing it together, united as a nation. I am very happy that, though late, we have today started the journey to celebrate Katiba Day, so that we can use this day to continue the robust conversation that Kenyans are used to. We have heard from the Right Honorable Raila Odinga the aspects that, in his view, require review. There are those who have other ideas. There are those who think that we have too many constitutional commissions. There are those who think we should change the formula on sharing of revenue. There are those who think, and we should, all of us, as we celebrate this Constitution, we must celebrate the good, reflect on what is deficient, and work together towards making our country better. With those many remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention. Asante sana.
Of applause for His Excellency. One more time, thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'll request that we take our seats, and I'll invite the following. We have a session where we are going to have the reaffirmation of the commitment of the covenant, which is the Constitution, and this is going to be signified by signing of